Recording in progress.
Coach Belichick has joined us. We're going to open with a comment, followed with questions. I don't see any hands raised, so I'll just remind people to raise their hands to start this off. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, thanks, Stacy. All right, well, so today we'll start with our really the first preparation on Washington, and be ready for Thursday night. Obviously, it's a good football team, well coached. Coach Rivera's always done a good job. Carolina, and then has had some success last year in Washington, and I think does a great job of having good, sound, good fundamental teams that are tough and physical, and so this is a good opportunity. I always have liked to play against Coach Rivera's teams in preseason. And we played Carolina quite a few times since I've been here when Ron was there. So those are good games for teams to really for us to work on our fundamentals and techniques, and see a good solid hard-nosed tough football that he teaches and that they're good at. They have a lot of very good players. They're a very explosive team. On offense, they've added a lot of explosive players and one of the top defenses in the league. So, as they were in Carolina, so that'll be a good opportunity for us. Give us a chance here to start on our preparation. Obviously, this will be a watered down version of it, and the next two preseason games will be a little bit different because we'll actually practice against the team before we play them. That'll obviously never be the case during the season. So this is a good week for us to start to introduce some scouting report and preparation methods, and for players to start to get into a routine on preparing for an opponent, as opposed to going through our training camp or OTA practices that we've done up to this point. So a lot of good learning experiences and opportunities for us this week, and try to take advantage of them and make the most of them, and build off that.
We'll start with Ben Volan, followed by Jim McBride. Ben, you're muted.
I think you're on mute, Ben.
Oh man, that's twice. That's poor form by me. Apologies.
Well, we double those fines now, Ben.
Yeah, I'll run a lab later. Having one fewer preseason game, has that changed your philosophy on how you use players in these games?
Yeah, I think every game is you just look at it as an opportunity. Of course, you have to see the whole picture, but I think what we have to look at right now is just what's best for our team, what's best for each individual, and how does that fit together as a team, so that there's a level of continuity and so forth in what we're doing. So we'll just take a look at this and then reevaluate where we are after this game as we head into Philadelphia and Giants week. So right now we're really just focused on how to get the most out of this opportunity to prepare our team, to evaluate our team, and to see where we are after spending a lot of time by ourselves, where we are relative to looking at another opponent. So really just take it one game at a time here, and we'll wait and worry about Philadelphia when we get to Philadelphia.
That seems to make sense for you guys. Also wanted to ask you real quick about Teddy Bruschi. He's been out, I think, 3 times. He seems to be really involved in practice. I know you've mentioned him before, but is he someone you would consider like trying to bring back into the program at a later time, whether it's a coach or front office, or is he someone you're considering trying to bring back into the family, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to have all players come back. We welcome back. We've had several, and I'm sure we'll have more. Um, and so we're always happy to see those guys. Teddy especially is obviously had a great career here. Was a very not only good player but inspirational player, and had a lot of leadership. And I know that our players, both our veteran players and our younger players, I've enjoyed talking to him as the coaches, and Teddy brings a great perspective on, his playing career, kind of a new generation of players, and other things that he's experienced. So I always enjoy talking to Teddy, and I've learned a lot from him, and he in our conversations this year. And we, talk at other points during the season as well from time to time. But his insights always valuable, and he has a great perspective and a lot of insight that I appreciate. So it's great to see him, but it's great to see any other players. Willie was here last week and so forth. So I hope we'll see many more in training camp this year.
Very great. Thanks.
From Jim McBride, followed by Kyrie Thompson.
Good morning, Coach. Wanted to ask you about James White and not just his consistency on the field, but kind of how he continues to emerge as a leader year after year in more of a quiet way.
Yeah, James gives us great leadership, both on and off the field. He's a player that if he doesn't say anything, you just watch what he does. He provides great leadership by his actions, by the way he prepares, his consistency, both on and off the field, his work habits, and his attitude to always help the team and put the team first in whatever he's asked to do. But at the same time, he also helps, I'm sure his position group the most, because he's with those players the most, and we have several younger backs on the roster. But just in general, he's very willing to help anybody, any player with their training habits or techniques or whatever it happens to be. And then as a coaching staff, he's one of the players that that I love to talk to. How are things going? How do you think we're doing? Where are we on this or where are we on that? And he's very honest, and he has a good perspective. It's not too high, not too low. It's kind of very honest and and helpful, and it helps me and prepare, and I would say manage the team. And I've always done that with the players that I felt like had a good pulse on things, and he's certainly one of those guys, and that shows up a lot in the captains meetings that we've had in previous years. We haven't elected captains this year, but he does a great job in those meetings of verbalizing where we are, what we need to do, how we need to do it, and so forth. And so I've, as I said, really enjoy my personal interactions with James and his views and his perspectives, and I think he brings a great level of insight to our team, but in his own style. So that's and it's an effective style. It's just different than some other guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next question, Kyrie Thompson, followed by Matt Tour.
Good morning. Obviously, we all know Hunter left practice early this weekend, and we're hearing he might missed a little bit of time. But aside from the specifics about how he's doing, I'm just wondering for a new veteran, right? And so I mean, he's a veteran. He's played in the league for a little while, but this is his first time here, learning this system, getting into these guys. How much of I don't know if I want to say concern, but I guess how much are you thinking about how tough that might be for him to catch up, or how do you feel about him being able to kind of get back on the horse before the season begins, especially with this truncated preseason?
All right. Well, Hunter's has participated in everything that been able to do since he's been here. So he's gained a lot of experience in the time that he's been here. I'd say he's day to day, and again, as players improve, and this goes for everybody, not just specifically him, but as players improve and they can do more, then we can gradually work them into things. It's a little different than the regular season where guys go on different lists, or the return process is a little bit different than what it is in training camp, because either you're getting a guy ready to play or you're not, and if you're not, then it's how much time you want to spend with him when somebody else is actually going to be playing there in the game. So he's day to day. He'll come back as he can come back, as when we have many other players in that same category. But Hunter's a smart guy. He has a lot of experience. He's been here and done everything that we've done as a team. And so when we get him back, we'll get him back there in the pace and the schedule that fits his physical situation. But he'll continue to make progress. There's still a lot of things that he can do. There may be some things that are limitations, like other players have. But again, we try to focus on what those players can do, not what they can't do, and so they'll continue to move ahead in the areas that they're able to.
Thank you.
Two final questions of Matt Tour, followed by Michael Hurley.
Bill, you mentioned Teddy earlier, and then James White. I was wondering if there was any specific younger guys that you see kind of moving into a role like that, a guy that you feel like you can trust, that would have a pulse on the team, somebody that can give you some insight that you'd look to kind of be the next wave in that leadership type of player.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of players that fall into that category, and that's how leaders emerge on every team, and every player on the team has a degree of leadership. That's based on their performance and their attitude and their work ethic. So, if a player comes in and works hard and performs well and has a good attitude and puts the team first and is unselfish, then that's about as much positive leadership as you can get. So we have a lot of guys that fall into that category, and leaders emerge by leading their peers, and maybe some people that are under them. Second-year player could have leadership within his group and within the rookies. Maybe he's not ready to lead veterans that have played 10 years and that type of thing, but there are different layers of it. So we try to develop that on all levels, and we have a lot of players that I know have leadership qualities, and have the ability to lead various groups, whether it's their position group or kind of an age group or a unit, and this is when that happens. When the team comes together in training camp and preseason games, and things are more challenging and more difficult than they are in the spring in terms of schedule and daily routine and just the grind of training camp and so forth. That's where those players emerge. So yeah, we'll see how all that goes, but I think we have good leadership on this team, and we have a lot of guys that work hard and are unselfish and can perform well. So those are all good qualities to have.
Do you find it takes a guy sometimes a little while to get to a point where they feel comfortable talking to you, that they've been in the situation long enough that they feel there's a comfort level to have a conversation like that with you?
I think all relationships are a little bit different. I'm sure things like that vary from individual to individual, but you'd have to ask them that. I can't speak for them. But I think it's rare to see a player in very early in his career, emerge as a top leader, as a captain. We saw that with Mayo, and we saw it with Devin McCourty, and saw it to a degree with Logan Mankins, but those are more the exceptions than the rule. Usually it takes a little more time to, I would say, go into that kind of a team leadership position. But we're all growing. Every year is a growing year for all of us. So, and each year the team dynamics and chemistry and personalities change a little bit as new players come onto the team. And I'm not saying necessarily rookies, but players that weren't on the team last year come onto the team, and players that were on the team last year aren't on the team this year. So it's always a new, a new formula, a new mix that will turn out a little bit differently than the year before, based on that, and also based on the circumstances that a team faces, whether that was COVID last year or whatever it is. I mean, there's something every year that affects a team, whether it's a big win or a tough loss or an injury or whatever the circumstances are, and those shape the chemistry and leadership of the team as well, that you just can't plan for or orchestrate. So in the end, it just it happens, and it's not something that a coach can, again, orchestrate or dictate. The groups find their own, they find that all works itself out within the group, on its own somehow.
Last question, Michael Hurley.
Hi, good morning, Bill. I was just in line with preparation for Washington. I wanted to ask you about Ryan Fitzpatrick. Just your general thoughts on him and whether his career, 17 years, 9 teams, if that's as unique a career as you've seen at that position in the league.
It is. I mean, a lot of that was, with the same coach, Chan Gailey. So there was definitely a connection there and a consistency there between the coach and the player, whether that was a head coach or offensive coordinator, play caller. But but Ryan's had a tremendous career. Certainly, he's always been a tough guy for us to play against. He's smart. He's very aggressive, resourceful, and very tough. You see him block guys downfield and put his head down and fight for extra yards and do some things that a lot of quarterbacks wouldn't do. He's competitive. He's resilient, and he does a good job of using the weapons that he has and getting them involved, getting them the ball, and when things break down, he's athletic and experienced enough to still make good plays in those situations. So he's a tough guy to play against, and he's got a little bit of a unique style. Maybe it's not classic, but he throws the ball well. He throws the ball down the field well. And as I said, he's tough and competitive and hard to tackle, and will stand there in a pocket and make tough throws. And if you try to do something a little bit different, he's got enough experience and is intelligent enough and has enough savvy to usually figure out what it is and figure out how to beat it. So, I have a lot of respect for him and for Ryan and the career that he's had.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Recording stopped.